afternoon, good morning, good evening. My name is Derek Weldon. I'm here with Michael Dennis and Maximilian Schiffler. A lot of you didn't know that Maximilian is his full name.
That is correct.
And this is the Cool JDM show coming live from the studios in the Pacific Coast office back room.
The back room.
Less of a studio, more of a back room, yep.
And in today's episode, we are going to be talking about buying yourself a Decotora, a super rare Nissan Fairlady that is at auction this week. Possibly the ugliest car ever, not the Fairlady, a different car.
These are all different topics.
Possibly the coolest car that is under 1 liter of displacement, something that you probably have never heard about. Okay, Jacob brings the sexy. We will answer your questions, and the main topic today, everything you need to know about Daikoku Futo. No, everything you need to know about Daikoku PA, which is on the island Daikoku Futo.
Right.
So we're going to jump right into the main topic here. Welcome, everybody. We are doing a format change this time where we'll talk about the main topic based on your feedback. And so thank you for the feedback. If you want to feedback our show more or give us news topics, then make sure that you email us at show@pacificcoastjdm.com.
Proof that we listen and care. We are the most caringest, cool JDM show.
So, main topic here, everything you need to know about Daikoku PA. And so, first a little bit of history. What is Daikoku PA?
But before you jump in too much, happy Canada Day to everyone. But also, what's with the chat and these little numbers? People are getting crowns and things.
Top fans.
Top fans. Is that just recent? Because I don't remember.
Hold on. How can both... There's Zaid and... Griff Rides, both are our number 2 best fan.
Yeah, how does that work?
If I click into the list of top fans, Griff is number 2 and Zaid is number 3.
So Zaid, you got to up that comment
Griff
game.
just beat you. And Rion's number 1.
But all of the 3 people who have who have top fans have the same amount of XP.
No, Zaid's number 1 now.
Okay, we got to get a show. I want to learn about this XP, but I want to learn about it later because we got a show going on right now and it is live.
Yeah.
Okay,
you guys can figure that out.
So main topic, Daikoku is a parking area that is on the highway system, the main highway system that goes between Yokohama, Kawasaki, and Tokyo. A lot of people have come to learn about it and it has become a bit of a tourist attraction for people who come.
It is a major tourist attraction.
Major tourist attraction. Yeah. Built in 1989 at the same time as that bridge was built. And my wife says she remembers this because when the bridge was built, her and her dad used to take little drives there when she was 6 or 7 years old to go and cross the bridge, the new bridge in Yokohama. This would have been right after the bubble era here in Japan and would have been, or right when the bubble was popping.
Yeah.
And so Japan would have been remarkably different back then with a lot of optimism for the future. And for the last 30 years, that's kind of, it went differently from what people thought. But I think that Daikoku PA and the bridges that are out there are very much an image of the bubble era of Japan.
Yep.
Very cool.
We found some videos of people from
and
when it was
we would love to show you, but we didn't put it into the show today.
If you want to see it, you could ask us, and we listen, and we care.
So Daikoku is a rest stop. And for those who don't realize, a rest stop is where on the highway system in Japan, you have to pay tolls to get on, and they're very expensive. Yeah. To get to Daikoku, costs $20 to go there.
If you don't have an ETC card.
If you have an ETC card, it depends on where you're coming from, but usually about $7 to get there. And the rest stop's purpose is for you to buy a little snack, use the toilet or something when you're on a trip on the highway.
Stretch your legs, get out of the car.
Tokyo doesn't have a lot of these rest stops because obviously the value of the land in Tokyo is very expensive. And so you need some space to park your cars and have a snack or something. And so what better place than the newly reclaimed land that it's on? And we got a map of Daikoku right now.
Oh,
yep.
So let's just scroll in there and show where it is. So go down to Yokohama.
And if you're not watching the show, if you're just listening, then imagine.
Just for you to know, this is Tokyo downtown. You will probably stay around here if you come visit.
West Tokyo. And if you go all the way south.
And so they built a man-made island and made it part of the major transportation hub. So 3 major highways all kind of combined here. And in the middle is the parking area. So you can kind of zoom in. And the reason why we're talking about this on the show is that Daikoku, since inception, has been the place where car people meet late at night to show off their cars. It is basically a car meet every night of the week, particularly on Friday or Saturday.
Yeah.
We have all been there a number of times. Max has probably been there more in the last 3 years that he's been in Japan than I have been in the 19 years I've been in Japan. I think I've gone probably 15 times. How about you, Max?
I don't know. Many times.
Yeah.
More than 15?
Yeah, the first
Here it's a couple
trip
times
I
a
did,
month, right? At least.
maybe
More.
once a month.
Okay.
And so in the early 90s, this was a gem of Japan that most people around the world hadn't heard about. And then internet blogs became popular with blogs such as 7tune and Speed Hunters, showing a lot of their footage from Daikoku because a few of the Westerners that lived here in Japan that wanted to blog car culture really latched onto this because it was the go-to place to go and check out the cars. It used to be.
It was also Japanese media who did a lot of shooting videos there, like Option Magazine and everything.
Let's just say, as we're getting into this, Max is the authority on anything Daikoku.
Yep.
And if I say anything wrong, Max will immediately, with that German attitude, tell me that I'm wrong about it.
You are wrong. No.
And it has become a great place to see the cars, and that's where the story of Daikoku begins.
Can I add?
Yeah.
This, Max has got a picture on screen of the reclaimed area. This is where a ton of cars are exported from Japan. So if you've bought a car from Japan, if you've bought a car from Japan, it's very likely that one of these ports around here, your car was either stored there for some time or loaded there. If you zoom in at the top a little bit to those white, so right there are those cars in the vehicle staging area to be loaded on the vessel, which is just there. So you can see there that that's a Ro-Ro vessel, and that's a big ramp that you would drive the car up to be loaded. So a little bit of insight there, and the parking area is right in that kind of hub.
And sometimes if you get pictures from the port, you're going to get them in those yards, but usually not. We do most of our yard work in Higashi Ogishima, which is a little bit further.
Yeah.
It's not that one, that's the electrical plant.
Yeah, it's just...
And it's this one here,
this
is where
place,
most of our cars come and go from.
So
and then up there as well, this one.
Yeah.
If your vehicle departs from Kawasaki, it will be around that area, and if it's Yokohama, it will be around the Daikoku area. And it just depends which vessel's going anywhere.
And it takes us about 35 minutes to drive to Daikoku PA and about 40 minutes to drive to the other port, and the other port that we use takes about 50 minutes depending on traffic.
Yeah.
Okay, so you have seen the pictures of Daikoku and you're coming to Japan and you want to experience this because it's a once-in-a-lifetime chance to come to Japan and see the cool car culture stuff. And so you're going to want to go there. So how do you do it? There are a lot of people making mistakes because they don't get this information correct when they come to Japan.
True. Become a big problem.
People think that they can come here and then stop by the outside of Daikoku and go inside, but you can't. It's only accessible from the highways. And this is an important point because you can't walk on the highway or ride a bike on the highway, or there's no buses or anything. You need to drive by car.
It only happened 2 weeks ago, again, that some random German dudes approached me and they're like, hey, can you give us a ride home? We got here by taxi. And what they initially did, because most of them, they don't know that there is an inside and an outside. They just come by bus to the Daikoku area bus station. And then they stand there like, wait a second, there's the fence.
Yeah.
What do I do?
Yeah.
So they get a taxi.
I'm already here in Japan, so how can I get on the other side of this fence? This is my only day to go see Daikoku. Every other part of my trip has been booked.
Yes. That's usually how it happens.
So we got a picture to show everybody. This is really, really funny because one day I just noticed this. Because yes, we're driving on and off of the ramps right outside of Daikoku on a weekly basis, like 3, sometimes 4 times a week. And I saw these new signs that were up. And so here's a Google Street View of it. It says, pedestrians cannot enter Daikoku PA. But if you missed that sign, you can see the next one, which also says, pedestrians cannot enter Daikoku PA. I saw in the news about 2 years ago, there were a bunch of news articles that said that people were climbing the fence to get into Daikoku, and mostly foreigners. These signs are only in English. They're not in Japanese for the Japanese public. It's only for foreigners who come to Daikoku and jump the fence.
And I have to say, these signs are right as the highway's starting. Like you can see in the distance there, those are the toll gates. So if you're currently walking in that section, you're already doing the wrong thing. You're starting to walk on a major highway, which I believe in every single country in the world is illegal. You cannot walk on highways. Yep. So hence the how many signs? 30 signs or something.
I was so surprised to see the sign to begin with, only in English, and then to be like, wow, there's 12 signs that all say the exact same thing. This is in your face. You cannot get inside there from here.
Like there's no pedestrian crossings here or anything because again, you can't. You're not allowed to be in this area.
So the bus stop where people get off is down this street back there where
So these guys are probably walking along the road because there are no footpaths. Again, it's a highway. There's no access.
It's also industrial zone. There's close. I mean,
those aren't footpaths either.
There's no footpaths whatsoever.
Yeah,
there are.
There is
other side.
one.
But again, that's away from the highway. Yeah.
And so, how do you get there? My recommendation to get there is to rent a car and go. I think Japan is a great country to rent a car if you're going to be sightseeing and you want to do outside of the typical tourist areas. I think if you're in Japan, make sure you do the typical Tokyo things because you're expected to, and you want to. Tokyo Tower, Tokyo Skytree, Kyoto, Hiroshima. A lot of tourists are going to be there, but you kind of got to do it anyway. But
it's worth it.
Rent a car and go do some car-centric things with the car rental, one of those being Daikoku. It's really easy to get to on the highway. Set your Navi to the parking area and go. Renting a car is pretty cheap. You can do a single day for about 6,000 yen. If you want to rent a sports car, which absolutely, I hope that you do. If you're interested in that sort of thing, you can. That usually costs a decent amount more, probably something like, let's do this in US dollars. So to rent a normie car, it's probably about $40 per day. If you want to rent a sports car, it's probably about 130 at the small end to 400 at the high end per day for something interesting. R35, R34s, GTRs, Supras, Skylines. There are shops that do that. There's one called Omoshiro Car, which is probably the go-to for sports cars in the area. There's also Fun to Drive. I don't know if they do car rentals anymore. Do either of you guys know?
I don't think so.
I think they had too many people crashing their cars, and so they decided only to do tours. Yeah. And they're pretty far away from here. To go pick up a car there and then travel back to Daikoku is like probably 2 hours to get there, and then an hour and a half to get back. So it's maybe a little bit tricky there. But you could do that if you want. And then fuel and tolls, probably bank about $30 or so for the day of driving for fuel and tolls. Maybe a little bit more, maybe 50 if you're going to be doing a little bit more highway driving.
Right. I would say if you get on and off the highway, it gets very expensive.
And the highways are very confusing.
Yep.
And Navi doesn't work in a lot of the underground highways.
Yeah.
So you'll just... How many times have you guys... I think this is our turn, but the Navi doesn't work, so I'll turn here.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not the right one.
That was an exit. I got to pay double now.
Yeah. That happened to me the first time that I came to Japan on holiday. Rented an R34 GTR and an RX-7 from a Moshiro Rent-A-Car, and tried to use Google Maps on the highway. This was 7 years ago. Google was worse then than it is now. It's much better now. But it kept telling me, get off the highway, get on the highway, get off the highway, get on the highway. I think Google was getting confused because it was in traffic. Or
there's elevated highways, and sometimes it doesn't know which road that you're on, the highway or the low road.
Right. So it does take some getting used to, but if you're going to Daikoku, it's not that bad. There are signs for Daikoku. Do your research.
It's called the Bayshore route in English. It's very easy to notice. Yeah. Instead of something like, Tohoku Highway or some Japanese word, Bayshore is really easy to.
Yeah. So what we're saying is, don't be too afraid to drive in Japan.
Yeah. Just do your research.
It's not that bad. And if you're going for like Nippon Rent-A-Car, Toyota Rent-A-Car, because there's a question too, you will get an ETC card. And that's much, much cheaper than getting no ETC card. So definitely get that.
I would say if you have the option to get an ETC card, do it. We went with a Moshiro Rent-A-Car, and at the time they didn't. I don't know if they do now, but we thought they did because it keeps telling you ETC things. So I'm like, oh, great. I see a little box. They'll have ETC. We'll just pay at the end of the day, whatever tolls we used. Wrong. No ETC card. So I did the foreigner thing of going into the ETC lane, and then a Japanese guy came out and yelled at me, and I was
Japanese?
like, I don't speak Japanese. I'm so sorry. I have money in my hand. What do I do? How can I pay? And he ended up helping me, but you know, you block up an ETC lane for 20 minutes or something, and it's, yeah. So get an ETC card if you can.
And if you have an ETC card, do you get entry fees or just distance fees?
That's somebody who asked the question.
Yes,
It highly depends on the highway. There are highways that cost, it's mostly the distance that you travel. If it's ETC, if it's just cash, they'll most of the time just to either charge you how much it is for the max, which sucks.
Yeah.
Yep.
Or it'll be a ticket system. You'll grab a ticket and then you go to the exit and you hand in your ticket and they'll go, you went this far, and then now you pay for it.
Yeah.
But yeah, especially the Tokyo ones, if you don't have the ETC, it's 2,000 yen to get on, no matter where you're going.
Yeah. Can get confusing, so please do your research if you're going to do it. Like, to get to Daikoku, if you're in Tokyo, you have to go on 3 different highways, and you have to pay. If you don't have ETC, you have to pay for the first highway, then you change onto the Kawasaki highway, you have to pay again, and then you go onto the... Actually, I'm not sure if that's true.
No.
It depends on the route you take.
If you take Beisho route, it's all within the 2,000 yen.
Yeah. So you got to be careful, like where you're staying. If you're staying that's not connected to the right highway, you got to get into the other one. So.
So if you don't rent a car, which is my recommendation, is renting a car. If you don't want to rent a car, you can get there by taxi, sort of. Some of the taxi drivers will say no because
it's weird.
They don't drop you off at a rest area that's on a highway because there's no one in the taxi system to pick you up.
Right.
Before this goes on longer, just for some people who don't listen to the end, don't go by taxi.
Yeah.
Don't.
I think that's fair to say.
Please
that.
Go on.
It's possible, but don't.
Yeah, renting a car is going to be cheaper and it's going to be a better experience.
And you won't get stuck.
And although Uber is a thing in Japan, it's not as developed as it is in most other countries. And I think that you're probably waiting longer for a pickup. This one's on the highway. Probably people aren't going to want to be traveling too far outside of the main Tokyo area for Uber. And I don't know. I feel like Yokohama's just not so established with Uber.
Also, like, the PAs are not accessible unless you get on the highway. So.
Or climb a fence.
Your Uber driver's like, yo, I'll give you a boost just to hop over the fence. So the Uber or taxi or anything has to enter the highway and has to pay fees. So you have to pay those fees because...
Imagine sleeping in Daikoku because you can't get out of there.
Yeah, hiding from the police who's going to kick everyone out.
And there's a police station in Daikoku.
Right next to where people do stuff. Yeah.
So if you're in there at 4 a.m, the police would probably be like, hey, what are you doing here?
Yeah. Well, I got stuck.
Okay, so the other one, drive a cool car in a tour group. This has become very popular. They are all over the internet. There are probably hundreds of different companies that either have cool cars or mediocre cars or something, and they advertise these tour groups where you can pay for a seat in the car and you can head to Daikoku. Some of the tours will bring you to some other areas in that area, and I guess there's a lot to talk about here because it is an appealing way to get to Daikoku for a lot of people because they don't realize renting a car might be easier or a heck of a lot cheaper. So with this style, there is the benefit of driving around the highways of Tokyo in a Skyline R34 and listening to the music that's in Initial D
or
from Tokyo Drift.
That
seems to be the only music that they're playing when these people roll into Daikoku.
Yep.
We've discussed this in the office before, and it's either cringe or not cringe, and you fall somewhere on the spectrum. I think the first time I went to Daikoku, guaranteed I played the Tokyo Drift music because it was like a lifelong kind of dream of mine. I was in Japan for the first time. I was going to this place, and we were seeing all these hot cars, and it was great moment. Not everyone feels the same way I do, but
I did the same thing. I'm guilty of this.
Have you done a tour?
Yeah, no, I have done the tour.
You haven't?
I had my car back then too.
Okay.
But I did play the Tokyo Drift. But I didn't play it on full blast with windows down, so everyone could hear.
I had it on a respectable volume, unlike you guys blasting it.
Yeah.
Gotta say, the seat inside a car has benefits and drawbacks, obviously. The cost is quite high. You're probably looking to spend about $200 to as high as $700 per one seat. So if you're in a group of people, this could be absurdly expensive. A lot of them don't tell you what car that you're going to be in.
Okay.
Until you ask them. I think this is done on purpose because some of the cheaper ones are going to put you into a van with a bunch of people, and it's not going to be the same experience. So it seems like it's a little bit annoying. I was checking a bunch of the companies to see what you can get, and it was frustrating, even though I kind of know the system and know what to watch out for.
It seems like there was mixed reviews too, right?
A lot of them are reviewed really highly because the event of going to Daikoku is so special and so cool to a lot of people. Yeah. Even if it's not competitive with the other systems, people still might be rating it highly because they don't get to try other companies, right? And try which one's the best. This is a one-shot thing, right?
Mm-hmm. You wanted to...
And so some of them will take you to other places like Autobox or Up Garage or Umi Hotaru, which is another parking area that's pretty common, or drive the highways of Tokyo, which is very cool. Big nighttime? Tokyo buildings, the highway systems are very complicated with a lot of off-ramps and stuff. Very cool looking.
I got something to talk about because they was commenting this. Some guy was doing that with his R34 GTR and binned it speeding with 3 tourists. Fun story. One of the tourists was someone I knew from Germany. And he posted that video publicly on Instagram, showing the speed and everything that they did.
Oops.
Which is freaking stupid.
Right. A lot of these companies aren't registered. So...
I got a lot to say about this. So if we want to go into that now, then we can.
Go into it.
Okay. Well, you start. Because you were about to say exactly what I was thinking.
I don't know what I was about to say, actually.
Okay.
You trying to read my mind, Mike?
Before you do that, there's some speculation on this.
Right.
If we're going to talk about this.
Yeah.
It's not like we know. It's
correct.
Mostly speculation.
I've never been in one of these tours. Neither have either of you guys.
No.
So we don't really know.
No.
I suspect that there are a lot of people driving too fast for the highway.
Yeah. And
because that's what the customers want. They want to speed in an R34 or R35 on the highways.
Yeah. I completely understand that. I also have never been in a tour either, but I question the legality of a lot of them. The fact that they're foreigners in Japan doing these tours, for most people on your visa, you are allowed to do specific work. For my visa, for example, I am allowed to work at PCA.
Yeah.
I cannot work anywhere else. I cannot earn any other side income unless I get permission from the government, and I have to apply for permission, and I have to tell them what I'm doing, and blah blah blah. That's one aspect. The other aspect is to run one of these businesses. As far as I'm aware, and I don't know how the people advertise it, there are some people who are on TripAdvisor and those other kind of like experience type websites where you can just go book something. Yeah, Airbnb experiences, I think. And some of them are just on Instagram. So I don't know if these are legit companies that are set up or if you're just paying someone cash and they're taking you in their car.
It's speculation, but I think most of them aren't.
Yeah, because it's quite difficult and expensive to set up a company.
And it's easy to have a car and drive people.
Right. Like, I could be on Instagram and say, hey, I'll take you to Daikoku. And I never tell the government. And yes, whether you believe in that or not.
And then...
still illegal.
You're driving super fast on the highway, which is dangerous to do. Mm-hmm. Most of them take place around 8 o'clock when the highways are fairly busy. Mm-hmm. Some of them probably a little bit later, but if you want to hit Daikoku, you got to do it before around 8 or 8:30.
Yeah.
Or something like that. And then you crash in the car, and you're like, I'm suing you. And then they're like,
yeah.
No, you're not suing me. Like, what happens in that situation?
Right. Like, if they don't have a company and their car is not set up as I think you have to set it up as a taxi to be able to take people.
Right.
For
taxi
money.
Or similar. We don't know exactly how that works.
Yeah.
There have been some arrests at Daikoku for people doing tours. And it was mostly because they didn't have the license to carry other people in their car.
Right.
Which is why most of the tours are set up as this is an experience and I just happen to get you to Daikoku.
Right. So I think it's worthwhile explaining a little bit more. We've looked into this because sometimes customers will ask us, can we buy a car from auction for them? They fly to Japan, drive the car in Japan, enjoy the car, and then we export it to them. And it is all possible. It's just very difficult and expensive, and it depends on how you do it. Probably the best way would be to set ourselves up or a different company up as a rental company and then purchase the car as a rental car, and then you're able to rent the car. Otherwise, we have to it would have to be registered a different way. But rental cars are registered differently.
Top Rank does that, and it costs how much?
Yeah, right. We talked about that.
$6,000?
About $6,000 US dollars to buy a car and drive it.
Right. Your
because
own car.
You have to have a secondary company as a car rental company to allow to do that, and there's costs associated and paperwork and filing taxes for that company too.
Right. So some of the tour companies are actually set up that way.
Yeah, I would imagine
Tours
there
come
are
to
some.
mind that they have actually registered rental cars, so you would suspect that this is something.
And you go in a group, right? They have like the tour guide drives his own car, and everyone else drives the rentals following him. Yeah, right.
Just like Fun to Drive, basically.
Yeah, and though there are some legit companies, and they set up their business, they pay the taxes, everything. They probably have insurance and everything like that, so you're safe if you're considering doing those. Or I think there are a lot more that are not set up that way. It's just somebody who has a car who will happily take your money, and then if he crashes it on Daikoku, like, man,
because he's doing something stupid.
Yeah, like man, can you imagine if somebody died in this? Like.
I suspect we're only moments away from a lot of regulation in this. I think that as soon as there's a crash and it hits the news cycle, the same thing that will happen to Daikoku, which I want to talk about. Yeah. Like in the changes in Daikoku, I think as soon as the Japanese public are like, foreigners are doing this, it tends to get a lot more prominence because we're seen as an outsider here. Right. And then a lot more like... With Daikoku, things changed because the outsider group, car enthusiasts, were seen as troublemakers. Not one of you guys, not one of you, the regular Japanese people, but those guys, the car enthusiasts, are causing troubles. And as soon as you've got this majority of Japan against one minority, it tends to make regulations pass a lot sooner because there's an urgency about it. Because they're like, those guys are bad guys.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, someone decided to put 26 signs in English saying to not jump the fence. Yeah.
And I don't know if now is the right time to talk about it, but Daikoku used to not have as much police presence as it does now. It has been steadily increasing year over year, but when I first went in 2017, I think 2018, the night that we went on 2 nights. There was a group of us friends. We had a rental car. We were doing a road trip in Japan. We went to Daikoku to see the cars. And the first night we went, it was fine. The next night we went, there was police who had blocked off Daikoku. And
at what time?
It was like, I want to say around 8 or 9 p.m. or something like that. Okay. Mm-hmm. And my friend who's Japanese checked the internet to see what was happening or what was going on. And apparently a foreigner was doing burnouts in Daikoku and hit a Japanese person.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I believe that was like the beginning of the end. Like ever since then.
You were there that night. Wow.
No, we didn't see him. I think it had happened like just before we got there, but then there was like a news story very shortly after, or maybe it was the night before, like after we had gone there, somebody had hit it, and then the next night they had closed it. It was like right that weekend. I think it was a Saturday and a Sunday. It was a foreigner. I think he was on one of the army bases here, and he had a Y plate car, and he was doing the USA street takeover style stuff and hit someone.
Terrible.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, so these tours, they might not be around forever. If you want to do something like this, probably do it a little bit sooner rather than later. One point I want to make is that there is a lot of hate about going to Daikoku on the internet. When I was researching this, a lot of people on Reddit are like, don't do it, it's illegal to go there, all of this sort of thing. I think that this is just gatekeeping. I think if you come to Japan, even if you don't completely agree with this sort of thing, it is a go to see sort of thing. I'm not in love with the fact that tourism has taken over Daikoku, and we will get into that a little bit later. Yeah. But at the same time, if you're in Japan, you probably want to see this. Same thing could be said about the Nürburgring, that tourists have overrun it compared to what it was like in the 1990s or so. But if I go to Germany, you're damn straight I'm going to the Nürburgring.
Yep.
Right? And so I don't think you should feel too bad about going to Daikoku. You're there for one night. Go and experience it, even if there are naysayers about it. And this is my takeaway for that. But the next thing I want to talk about is what to expect at Daikoku. We probably should have gotten into that before we started complaining. But
it is a hot topic.
What is Daikoku, and why do you want to go there? And so I said earlier that they are a place for car meets, and you can go there every night. and you can see something, but you're probably going to see the most amount of cars on Friday or Saturday. We got a few pictures. All of these were taken by Max, by the way.
Yep.
So they're not just pictures of the internet from Instagram. This is what Max experienced when he went.
And they are not great pictures. It's just phone pictures. When I go there, it's for documentation purposes.
I'm usually very good at photos, but if these aren't very good, it's not my fault. And so the prime time, and you can correct me if I'm wrong about this, Max, is between 7 o'clock and 8:30. Seems to be about the best time frame on Friday or Saturday if you are planning to go.
Is that a blue chrome wrap? Or is that...
Yep.
Wow.
I put that in for $1,000.
Oh, good choice. Love it.
So it's still a common place for car clubs to come and show up. So you might see a group of 6 or 7 or 8 of the same make on a cruise to come show up at Daikoku.
Oh, yeah.
If you want to do that, go on a Sunday evening. Less people, more car clubs.
Okay.
And it is cool to see a whole group of people. Mostly it's Japanese people that are doing that because there just aren't enough foreigners here in Japan that have the same make or model. Yeah. Usually when it is a foreign car club, it's a diverse group of cars, so it's not all the same kind of cars, that sort of thing. Most of the foreigners that come here with a car are going to be Army base foreigners. Y plate.
Do you think so? I think it used to be that way, but I feel like now there's enough of people kind of like us who live and work in Japan who have their own car. And
Max is the authority. What do you think?
I think it depends on the day. Sometimes you have more people who live here who come here. Sometimes you have more people from the army base. The army bases are kind of far away, so they usually come in groups. So it might seem that there are more than there actually are.
Yeah,
I don't really know.
You're going to see a lot of the rental car and tour groups that come in. They come in and they roll in, and it's kind of cool to see a string of like 8 or 10 cars, all with their Tokyo Drift music playing and the flashing lights and stuff. They roll in, Yeah. Kind of cool to see. You will see a lot of that because it's become so popular. Yeah. And then the police are going to be kicking you out at around 8:30 pretty much every night these days, it seems. Sometimes the police are going to give tickets for cars that aren't legal. There's a name for that, right?
It's free shaken.
Yeah, free inspection. I.e., the police are going to walk up to your car and be like, hey, is this legal? Oh, I don't think so. Inspection notice.
Funnily enough, it happened just last weekend. They did a big inspection and I think 43 cars got hit with, you got to redo your car and redo shaken.
But if you've got a legal car, it's fine. But a lot of the car tuners here don't have legal cars, especially exhausts, right? They'll have an exhaust that doesn't pass your inspection, and then when it's time to inspect your car every 2 years and get shotgun, they'll...
I think that's the biggest misconception about modifying a car here. It's like, you can do everything in Japan. But you literally can't.
Yeah. But you have to switch it back. And these inspections are not very common. In Canada, if a police pulls you over any time, he'll write you a ticket for that. And he'll say, now you have to get a VI, vehicle inspection.
Yeah.
The police will come out in their cars, several cars with their lights flashing and stuff. As far as I've seen, these police aren't going to give you any sort of trouble other than the vehicle inspections. Have you ever heard of anybody actually getting tickets for like participating in drifting?
No, but I'm also this is a little bit out of my knowledge base. I don't think in the videos I watched on what happened last weekend, I have not noticed that, but I went to Daikoku just the day after that, and the police walked around and wrote down license plates for the cars who were there. So what the police usually do is they're gonna monitor different people for weeks, if not months.
That sounds very Japanese.
Yeah.
And then if they have enough data on you, they'll send you a letter like, hey,
you've been a bad boy.
Yeah.
You came to Daikoku too many times.
Yeah.
And then before the police come, the tour groups know that the police are going to come at certain times. So they all roll out in an armada right before the police usually come out because I think a lot of them are afraid that this could shut down their business.
I think because a lot of them are doing illegal stuff and they know that.
There was this one time where the police just put the sign up for the free shotgun inspection.
Yeah.
But they didn't do anything. They just lit up the sign on one of the trucks.
We were there that night, right?
It was like 5 minutes and all of them were gone.
It was so funny just watching everyone, big traffic jam to try to get out.
Yeah. And it's literally like everyone is parked up, having a good time. People are walking around, admiring everyone's cars and talking and things like that. And then you see the cop siren, or not siren, sorry, the lights. The lights will come on. They had a big sign saying like, we're going to be inspecting cars. Everyone, it's like the
mad scramble.
What's one of those scenes where like the
house party, right? With the underage kids drinking, and then the cops come and it was like, cops!
And everyone's like in their cars, and it's all of the super modified ones.
Funnily enough, it was basically like the Fast and Furious 1 scene on the race, like where they do the street racing, and that one guy's like, cops, and everyone
authentic Tokyo Drift experience.
But like from the police point of view, they didn't even have to do all the inspections. They kind of solved the problem immediately. As soon as they said they were going to do it, everyone left, and then they ended up just not doing it, at least not until we left.
Yeah. Scare tactics.
Yeah.
And so it is a cool place to see cars, and you can see a lot. There are a lot of foreigner cars, the 1990s special, like sports car kind of thing. Yes. You can find weird things there all the time. And it's sort of like a treasure hunt. And so in that respect, it is cool. Yeah. I find that the Japanese people that are there are generally pretty okay to talk to foreigners about their cars. I think that there is a sort of sentiment that the tourism of the area has kind of soured this from the typical Japanese person's desire to go to Daikoku. But I think a lot of the Japanese people that still go after that are the type of people who kind of want to show off their car to the foreign community type of person. And so therefore I find that they're generally more okay. If you can speak Japanese a little bit, it does help. But if you're a tourist, you absolutely can't speak Japanese, and just, be respectful of these people. Don't lean on their cars. I've seen a lot of the tourists lean on people's cars to take pictures, and they're like, don't do that. And then they give sass. Like, I've seen that a number of times in the few times that I've been there. Like, I wasn't touching it. Like,
it's not your car, and also that's probably a very expensive car.
The other day I saw a kid just half sitting on a Ferrari. Like, do you?
Yeah, that's a pet peeve of mine. Also, what is that?
I tell you what that is.
Six wheel.
It's sick.
Yeah, it is sick. But
it's a Toyo Ace, but they never came in 6-wheel like that.
But can you go to the right just a bit? It looks like the ladder is through the spoiler. Oh no, okay, never mind. I was like, it looked a little AI almost with the ladder going through the spoiler.
The spoiler has little clips on it.
Yeah.
But there's nothing to make sure that the spoiler doesn't get scratched. And that's a GTR wing, by the way, which would have had to be narrowed, I think, in order to fit on there perfectly like that.
You think the AC is for the car?
I think that's hilarious. It looks like it actually gets used.
Yeah.
And it looks like it was extended. I know that they make the Toyo Ace with the one back window, but I've never seen one with two back windows like that one. So cool.
No, exactly.
That one really caught my attention. I was like, I gotta take a picture.
The treasure hunt.
Okay, so we dabbled on it a little bit, talking about all the changes in Daikoku. And yes, there have been a lot of changes. I've been here since 2006, and it's shocking to me how different it is now than what it used to be. And I guess I can feel a little bit sad for what is lost, but at the same time, I understand what it is, and I don't think it's really anyone's fault. It's just an evolution, right? So back in the 90s, up until about the mid 2000s or 2000, maybe as far as 2010, this was a very popular place with young Japanese guys that would hang out there for hours. I'm talking arrive at 10 o'clock and stay until 1 or 2 in the morning, which can't really happen anymore. People would bring out lawn chairs, people would sell parts there, and like you would have a lot of 70s and 80s cars in the late 90s, early 2000s, because those were still the old tuner cars. So a lot of very low cars, stretch tires, wide wheels, Sunnies and Fairladies and Hakoskas and 86s were very popular when I first arrived. It has changed since then, and mostly because of a crackdown. It wasn't long before they started shutting it down. And when I first arrived here, the shutdown time was usually 11 to 11:30, which gave you a lot more time.
Much later,
Yeah.
And now the shutdown time is around 8:30. And I don't know when the reopening time is, but do you guys know?
Recently in the news articles, they say it's closed the whole night. And that is Daikoku PA and all of the other PAs on the Tokyo Loop.
Wow,
but
that's
I don't
so
know if
inconvenient
it's
for people
really
that need to pee.
Yeah.
You better get your pee bottles in your car now.
I don't know if it's all PAs though. I think it's some of the famous ones like Tatsumi and then
Shibata.
Daikoku. Yeah.
Tatsumi, Shibata, Daikoku. Are the ones,
Ishimura
and then the ones that go between Daikoku and Tokyo, like near Haneda, there's one small one that they closed down, and then between Haneda and Tokyo, there's this one that's like slightly over the highway. They closed that down too.
And so they sometime in the mid 2000s, this was after I came to Japan, but it was freshly made when I came here in 2006. They put some speed bumps in, and they're a weirdly shaped speed bump that makes it hard for low cars, because at that time the millimeters against the ground kind of cars were very popular. So they put these kind of raised up platforms as a sidewalk, and they installed this, I think, to make it harder for low cars to get around in there. And I can remember my first few times coming in, people would get stuck on those. They would try to drive the car over them, and they would get stuck. And then they would take magazines, and I've got early pictures of 2007, people putting magazines under as a car tries to kind of get enough clearance to get over that little speed hump. It's not that...
It would have been an event.
It's not that tall. It's probably only about 2 inches or 5 centimeters tall, but the super low cars will struggle to get over them. And I think that was a move to try to...
Same with Tatsumi. The exit has a speed bump now.
Yeah.
Where people used to take fast accelerations out of the parking area.
There's one video of a Lamborghini jumping because he doesn't know that was there.
One famous video.
Is this part of... Oh, no, you keep going.
These are changes in what's happened at Daikoku.
Yeah.
Sometime in the early 2010s, I don't know exactly when, 2011 maybe, they changed the lights there. If you look at early photos, and it might be a little bit difficult to find these, the early photos made it so much more photogenic for the cars, and it was a lot easier to take pictures of the cars because the lights were a lot brighter, and they were more yellow. And so early pictures, the cars will have this kind of hue.
Yeah.
And especially the back highway would light up with this because it was like a phosphorus type light or something that has a very long throw but not very bright. And it's just unique. They changed the lighting, and then I remember going there afterwards going, I can't take pictures here anymore. And I think, again, this was an effort to make it less of a hangout place because now you can't take as nice of pictures here.
Yeah. It's mostly that big tower in the middle that used to be like a floodlight.
Right. All the lights used to be lit up, and now they only have a couple of them. It used to be a pillar of lights all the way up.
They only have one or two on, and it's, as you said, this kind of yellow-white light. Which is why I don't like taking pictures there. It's just...
it's hard. If you want to take good pictures there and you have a DSLR or something like that, you need a tripod and you need to be doing long exposures. Cell phones can usually take good cameras because they've electronically figured out how that works. But a DSLR, I would recommend a tripod if you're going. And recently, I'd say in the last 5 years, Daikoku has really become a JDM Disneyland. So tourism is one of the sites that you're seeing there. I'd say at least half the people there are foreigners. Where it used to be, you wouldn't see a single foreigner or maybe one in a night, and it would be a surprise. Now it's almost everyone there is a foreigner. Yeah. It's a very big change from what it used to be, I would say.
Like your take on this. I don't know if you've given it on the show before, but... it has become what people wanted it to be.
Oh, right.
I think that is a very apt description of what it is now.
It's like, yes, people were sold a fantasy of what Daikoku is, and then based on that fantasy, it became that.
Yeah.
It's an evolution of what has happened. Yeah. Kind of interesting. And recently as well, I felt like it's become a little bit run down. Especially the shops have closed down. I'm not sure why. But it's as popular as ever, but the shops have closed down. The ones that exist there are kind of run down. Lots of gum on the floor and bricks that are getting old. And there used to be drifting there that
still was, I believe.
So behind the building, outside of the parking area, there was an area in the docks that was popular for drifting because there's no residences there, and it was easy to get away with drifting because nobody's around.
Yeah, except for the police station right next to it.
Yeah.
And there were a lot of people who would, visible from Daikoku, do drifting there. And people at Daikoku would go up to the upper levels and view down below at the people that are drifting. And there used to be several hundred people watching the drifting. And now you can't do that because they built a fence. And then people would climb the fence and sit on the top of the fence. But then they were worried the fence would fall over. So within the next year, they built another stronger fence. And it's like a jail up there. It is so weird and crazy. And makes Daikoku less of a good place to be.
Yeah.
You also used to get a great view of downtown Yokohama from there, but then they built this like 10-story warehouse that blocked the view. So you can no longer sit on the promenade and see the beautiful lit up cityscape that's in the background. Now it's warehouse and jail-like wall and stores that are closed down, which is a bit of a bummer. It used to be so popular to hang out away from the cars.
Yeah.
And just, hang out like a typical Japanese youth. But there's no more of that. Now it's all hang out around the cars, and while the Japanese people tell the foreigners not to touch their cars.
Yeah.
What Japanese regular people complain in the reviews of Daikoku that they can't get a parking spot, much less get a spot where they can charge their EV because
and the
everyone's
truckers.
parking on the EV.
There are there are a ton of trucker spots for people to sleep overnight.
Yeah.
And that's the point of it.
Yeah.
Come in at 11 o'clock at night and sleep. But if it's closed down or something, they can't. So I think a ton of truckers are pretty mad about that.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it is a PA. It is a functioning PA. It is designed to be a rest stop
and
on
a tourist location.
But, yeah.
And I'm a little surprised that there isn't any step into the tourist side of that. There are empty spaces in the shopping district at Daikoku, and it's surprising to me that someone doesn't set up a Daikoku souvenir shop. I think they would sell a ton of it.
The Lawson has stickers and everything.
Right, some limited stuff. And I'm sure they sell a ton of them, but if there were a shop that had t-shirts and model cars, I mean, they do have model cars there, but like the t-shirts would be a big one. Hats would be another.
They're not really leaning into it though, right? They're like, it's a dusting of... we get that there's going to be some car people, so we'll have some little car themed things. I've got some initial D.
They don't want to promote it, I don't think.
But that's a little bit weird to me because a lot of these PAs in Japan have, like, they are an attraction. You can find maps of these PAs and, this PA specializes in this thing, and they have a little park.
Big shopping centers sometimes. And some of them, big shopping centers with like 30 or 40 outlets inside where people go there on the way on a road trip.
Right.
The one in Ebina's like that.
Yeah. Like I'm going on this road trip and this very famous PA is on the way. So let's stop in there and do the PA things and then we'll continue on. But part of the journey is the PA stop. So there is, I think, a case to be made for like revitalizing Daikoku and turning those shops into like
a little sad.
I don't think it mixes well with like the trucks and then the cars and the people who are stopping for the break, but I think there's an opportunity.
I think they should expand it.
Yeah.
Take up one of the port holding lots next to it. There's a ton of space on Daikoku Island for new development. There's lots of blank spaces.
Yeah.
Move one of those away, open up Daikoku to have a bigger parking area, and then that I think gets rid of one of the main problems in that the tuner cars take up spaces that otherwise people need to go pee or something like that.
Yeah, I think honestly invite them.
Get a pedestrian entry and charge 2,000 yen per pedestrian.
Oh, yeah. Honestly,
the highway
not a bad idea.
Highway company though, this is very old school Japan. They can't be convinced of anything. That's like USS Tokyo auctions. Yeah, you can suggest anything and they'll be like, I don't care about you.
Yeah,
I make the rules, and I'm sure the highway companies are going to be the same.
Probably.
I do think that is a good idea. I don't know how it works like legally or anything, because it would be the only PA then that you could access from foot. And
no, not the only one.
Really?
Ebina one can be accessed by foot too.
Okay.
Yeah, there are some select ones that can be, but it's semi-rare.
Well, in that case, I would say use the same model and then, invite people in. Don't do all the cop checks and everything, but have some like themed cafes.
The original plan was like that, actually. The original plan for Daikoku PA had a public entrance and a shopping district right outside of it. And a skywalk, which closed down because nobody was using it after the first 10 years, and now opened up again only on the weekends. But it's... I don't think it's pulling much traction. I think it's wasting money. Yeah. Some tidbits of information. Street racing isn't really done around Daikoku. Most of the street racing is done on C1. Late at night, because you pay the tolls once and then you can go around and around and around and around.
I do have to say, though, that Daikoku's part of that. You can pay the toll once and then go around and also stop at Daikoku. And
so,
some other PAs.
I suspect street racers are going to be go to Daikoku, go out to C1, do some street racing, go back to Daikoku and stuff. But the racing actually across the bridges and stuff like that, I don't really think that's what they're doing.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not part of that scene. when I first came here, there was a McDonald's at Daikoku, which is pretty cool to think. They closed it eventually, but it is the 2000th McDonald's in the world.
Oh.
Opened in 1989 in Daikoku. And it was like, surprise, it's cool. And then it's gone now. Yeah. Kind of sad. They had a Yoshinoya or something like that afterwards, and now they've got nothing. There's no restaurant there. Yeah. They have that little cafe thing.
There's restaurants. You can get ramen and
it's like a food court.
Good. Yeah, it's a food.
There's on the second floor. There's an area for a restaurant, and then whatever restaurant goes in there closes down because.
As far as PAs go, it's actually very underwhelming other than the people that come to it. Like most PAs are way better.
Umi Hotaru is fantastic. It's got like 12 restaurants or more maybe.
Yeah.
It's got an arcade.
If Daikoku had an arcade, I bet you they'd pull in big money.
Yeah.
Especially if they had car-themed plushies of 8-6 car or something.
Heck yeah.
I'd try it. I hate crane games, but I would play that one.
Yeah.
Just because. And what else do we got here? Tidbits of information.
I think you need to say the last one.
Oh.
Exactly what we were talking about just before, the revitalization of Daikoku.
Right. So, I don't know. I just think it would be cool if we had our own shop in Daikoku, but I feel like they don't want to do car-related shops there. But if nobody's rented that place for a while, why not?
Yeah.
Is it because they don't want anything car-related, or is it because the rent is going to be too high, or is it because of something else?
Yeah. I wonder if they're like...
we should contact the highway and be like, hey, how much?
Yeah.
How much for this?
Imagine doing the cool JDM show on the upper level in front of the glass with Daikoku in the background.
Hey,
green screen.
We'd have to have a lot more than 24 concurrent viewers.
We'll set up
there is the option to donate money to this.
There's not. Okay, so you don't want to come to Daikoku, or you do want to come to Daikoku and you want to do other car stuff in Japan. So here are some places that you can hit.
Oh, fun.
Umi Hotaru is another parking area. It is in the... You have to go through an underwater tunnel to get to it. It's in the Bay of Tokyo. We can take a look at it on the map, maybe.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
It's great. Lots and lots of space for parking, and it also has car-related car meets and stuff like that.
Is here.
Wait, you got to do the zoom out, the dramatic reveal. It is in the middle of the ocean. Or is that a bay? I guess it's more of a bay.
There's plans, like civil engineering plans, to create a city in the middle of Tokyo Bay, because it's not that deep compared to everything else. So they can put these man-made islands everywhere, and from like the 70s and 80s, they've got these master plans of new Tokyo that goes there. And the Akira, right? You know the Akira anime? I
haven't watched it, but
the entire Akira city is in the bay that's been filled in because it was such a popular thing, like a vision of the future during the bubble era, that this is what Tokyo is going to be like. Kind of fun. If you want to do car stuff in Japan and you've rented a car, going to racetracks is a good idea. There are a ton of really interesting historic races or amateur races or even high-end drifting races and stuff like that you can easily get to in a racetrack. Most of the information can be found on the website, calendars for this, and you can use Google Translate. So just look at 4 or 5 different racetracks in the area and go, what's going on this day? Yeah. I've done that a lot and found some interesting events. Idlers is really fun to watch. It's one of my favorites. The classic Idlers. Of course, Idlers is known for the RWB stuff.
Oh, dear.
I went to turn off my phone that just beeped and knocked over my water.
Do we have...
We'll have an assistant come and clean up.
I think you can just get...
What paper towels?
I don't think there's anything that's going to drop on. That's a lot of water. Pass me some tissue. This is a live show, so sometimes we need to clean up in the middle of the show. Try the Nissan headquarters in Yokohama. It has like 15 cars you can sit in. They're all brand new cars from Nissan. They usually have some classic cars that you can look at but not sit in. It's free, and you can combine it with a whole bunch of other things that you're going to do in Yokohama. Maybe spend an hour there.
Yep. Actually, just on the other side.
They have a Starbucks there if you want coffee.
That what's it called? The Bay Quarter. On the other side of that, there's a ton of nice restaurants and. Yeah, I've been there. It's actually very close to the Omori factory too, I think.
No.
I think you can walk there.
If you were walking to the Omori factory, it'd be over an hour.
Oh, yeah, okay.
It's over here.
Oh, never mind then.
somewhere here.
I think we might have taken a train there.
This one is good too, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you have to take a train and then the walk is still decent from that train. But if you're in the area and you want to do everything on the same day, then yeah, it's worth it.
Go visit Minatomirai and you walk right through it from Yokohama Station. So land in Yokohama Station, walk through the Nissan, check out some cars, and then walk to Minatomirai, which has a ton of interesting stuff to do.
Go to the Cup Noodle Museum.
It's fun, but it's not that good.
Yeah. What else?
Yokohama is great for car spotting too. Weekend evening.
Yeah.
It's like here.
Car spotting. Yokohama is good.
I was going to say
Akihabara is good.
Warehouse there.
Any night. Cool cars are going to be driving the circles around these places. Nissan Crossing in Ginza?
Ginza, yeah.
That's another kind of Nissan building. They usually have one or two like concept cars on display.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right outside that building?
Yeah.
What's that inside? That's some...
Concept for an R36 or something.
Yeah.
Oh, weird.
They have cool stuff in there. You can get a coffee with the Nissan picture on the coffee and stuff. It's quite neat. You can sit in cars too.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
Aoyama? I don't know. This one came from Max. Aoyama Ichome Honda Museum. Outside there on a Sunday or basically anytime you can car spot classic cars, I think Grant said. Hang out.
Supercars, anything.
Anything and everything.
There's
the Ginkgo guy.
That's worth showing, especially in autumn when all of the leaves are yellow.
Sunday mornings, like 7 a.m.
Yeah.
Cool. Meiji Jingu.
That's this one.
Car spotting. Okay, same sort of area. Saturday night, first Saturday of each month in Shibuya, lowriders and caddies. American car culture hits Japan.
So just to let you know, this is Shibuya Crossing, the big one, and they will usually loop around this bend here.
Oh, I've seen them sometimes go down towards the crossing and then park up right before the crossing too. But I think the police move them on usually because you shouldn't really.
You shouldn't.
Yeah.
There's an initial D cafe in Gunma, and then you can go drive the Mount Haruna roads. That's probably one of the best things if you are a toge kind of drifter type of person. Mount Haruna is the mountain that's called Mount Akagi in initial D. It's the home mountain of Takumi, so you can go drive it, and it's exactly like it is in the manga/anime. So
minus the racing.
The racing doesn't really happen anymore.
Well,
and they,
wink, wink, wink,
well,
wink.
I feel like also they embellished it for the story, right? The people watching on the side of the road probably is something that happened, but not the several hundred to 1,000 people that it looks like in the anime.
Wink, wink.
Go-karts. Not mentioning the drive on the street go-karts thing because that's probably going away pretty soon.
I used to work there for the go-kart things. Honestly, I don't think they should exist. I get that it's fun and it's a
someone's going to be run over by a truck and that's going to stop it. Yeah. Tokyo City Circuit for go-karts or Big Bang. Big Bang is a drift kart circuit. It's a little cheap and a little small, but it's very inexpensive to do, and you can go drift your kart around a circle track. Kind of cool. People usually like going there. And then Nagoya Toyota Museum is awesome, and Hiroshima Mazda Museum is awesome. I've been to the Toyota one, and it was awesome.
It was
very,
closed
very good.
on the day I went to go there.
Sucks.
Yeah. Also, George said Sunday morning is his favorite time to go to Daikoku, and that is very true. Sunday morning is usually the higher value supercars or ultra special cars that are not the tuner cars so much, but more like old Maseratis or Ferraris or special race cars, and great time to go.
Yeah.
That was actually awesome. If the bin was open, that would have been perfect.
Nice one. Okay, next segment. Mike.
Next segment.
You want to be the segment master for this one?
Segment master. Due to somebody, were they complaining or did they just make a suggestion?
Nobody complained.
They said, you got to get to the main topic faster.
We did.
So we did.
Do we want to do 2 questions first for the main topic?
Why not?
Mike does.
How's the car scene in other areas like Osaka, Fukuoka, Sapporo? Are there regional specialities?
I am now a honorary Osaka member with my car.
Oh, because you got a Honda?
Yeah.
Osaka's known for their Hondas.
Yeah. They all get loud straight pipe exhaust, which I could do. I could go back to the straight pipe life, and I could go on the Wangan in Osaka. Yeah, there are. I don't know. I can't really speak in much detail because I've never lived there. But I assume they would have the same PAs and meeting areas, and there are some videos on YouTube about.
I'm sure
Dino's gone there, and
I'm sure the internet has a ton of stuff, but
Yeah.
none of us really are in that area,
Yeah.
so we don't really
Yeah.
know too well.
The
I know
only-
classic cars are popular in Kyushu though.
oh
Like-
yeah,
like 60s, 70s.
The only thing I read recently is that Osaka has a lot more Euro cars
Oh yeah.
than Tokyo.
Oh, I didn't know
Interestingly enough.
that.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I
I
wonder
would
why.
like to check out Osaka car culture.
What was the other question?
Yeah.
And where can you... no, this is another question, but do that later. So, next segment.
Okay, this week.
No?
No. What?
Car picks. You missed a sheet.
I missed a sheet. Ah, sheet. Car.
Okay, so we got some interesting cars for you. Actually, quite a few of them, and they're all auction cars this time because the dealer cars, I got sick of saying, this car is cool, but look how expensive it is.
Yeah.
Because dealers, especially for specialty cars, are marking it up more than like 25% or something like that over the auction costs. So most of what we recommend, and 99% of our business, is buying from auction, where you should be buying your cars unless you want to pay extra for them for something unique and special that won't come up at auction. So this first one that we found here is
a Mazda Titan dump.
and the only
Not because it's a dumpy car, but because it has a dump bed. Not a
It
bed
is a
for dump.
Titan
Oh, I guess
dump.
it is a bed.
So you
for
guys look at the
dumping.
pictures and I'll read what Grant said. So this is a 1995 Mazda Titan Decotora. Decotora is a tuning culture in Japan for decoration truck. And it comes from originally a 1970s movie series. In 8 years, they made 11 movies in this series, so more than one a year. And it was called what was it called? Truck Yaro.
Truck Yaro.
And that's also the Nori Yaro. The Yaro from that is
Oh,
the same as the Nori Yaro. Nori Yaro is like
seaweed guy, right?
Yeah,
Nori?
pretty much.
Nori's for riding, like ride a car.
Oh, okay.
So it's
Well,
like
not
let's
seaweed.
ride kind of thing. And Truck Yaro is like let's truck or something like that. Think of it a bit like Japanese Smokey and the Bandit. I watched some clips of it.
Oh.
Really funny. I couldn't understand most of it, but it was very cheesy B-roll about guys in Decotoras that do adventures and try to get the girls and
Is
stuff
this
like that.
animated or
No,
like
it's live action.
Oh, okay. So they used a whole bunch of Decatur trucks.
And then there was the main character and his kind of posse.
Okay.
And the bad guys, they all, and I don't think they really explain it. It's just like,
This
it just
is
happens to be that they're driving these trucks that are
Yeah.
highly, and this one here would be considered a light Decotora. The ones in the movie were like hundreds of lights on them.
Yeah, yeah. And oh man, we've seen some awesome ones at Daikoku. They've
We
got
talked to some people and
chandeliers.
they were looking very mafia-like. But
I don't
nice people.
know.
And so the
They're
Decotora
cool.
trend started in the late 70s and mostly was popular up to the early 90s or maybe mid 2000s. Not as popular nowadays. It's usually lots of lights on it. Also a lot of murals that have been airbrushed onto the box trucks. They tend to really like imagery of like tigers or other animals like that.
I like Japanese culture, but
Or 90s
storytelling.
Japanese singers
oh yeah, yeah.
are very
that too.
popular for whatever reason.
Yeah.
I guess it's sort of like a callback, like people like city
Yeah.
pop, Japanese music. So Decotora drivers like 90s Japanese
Yeah.
singers.
Like Studio Ghibli stuff.
Have you seen that?
Yeah.
I haven't seen
Oh,
that so much.
Me neither.
Big Totoro.
I think Decatura is fantastic for two main reasons. The first is that these trucks are usually used. They are either cargo transporting trucks or like this one, it's a dump truck. And he just happens to, I believe in Japan there's a lot of owner operators for these trucks. And so they own their own trucks and they can modify them because they're not company vehicles. So he goes out and he does dump truck stuff. He goes and picks up loads and drops loads and he's got all his lights
In his
and
Titan dump.
Yeah, I think that is
Picks up
awesome.
loads and dumps loads.
And then the second one I think is like a lot of time, money, and effort gets put into these. And if I'm at Daikoku and I'm looking at sweet cars and a Decatur truck rolls in, I'm leaving the cars and I'm going straight to the Decotora truck and I'm checking it out because
chandeliers inside, like full house chandeliers that all like, you know, move around
with like the leopard print seat covers and carpet and interior
tassels.
And this one isn't too crazy on the interior.
No, it's very mild.
Like Indian style, like carpet with tassels along the headliner. Mirrors that jut out way in front that are with chrome arms, like this one has.
Which
bumpers also that extend like more than a meter in front of the truck.
Which, by the way, is everything of that is shaken not okay. Like,
so, and these trucks you need to re-shaken once per year, not once per 2 years. So every year you gotta.
They need to have structural changes done to the registration because of the extending it more than what.
But that doesn't mean it's illegal, right? They just have to modify the
chandelier stuff and the stuff in the windscreen. Not okay.
Okay.
No.
So some of it has to come off, and some of it you have to register to your.
So when it's Decotora shaken time, it's okay. Pull everything off and then send it in for shaken.
You see that thing that's attached to the face? That's like one of the first things that a lot of Decotora people get, and it lights up, and it's like a grill garnish, I suppose. Very cool. Looks like something out of Transformers.
Yeah.
And it's that they would have. That would be like when they're the robot, it's on their chest, but then it's like on the nose when they're in the truck form.
Yeah. Most of the time it's this faint, like old school greenish glow.
Yeah, like they use incandescent bulbs instead of LEDs. I guess nowadays LEDs are more popular, but the incandescent bulbs, like the Carnival of the 80s or something, that'll have a line of bulbs, or the movie theaters, the old movie theaters.
Yeah. It has its own vibe. Like, it's cool.
So you can buy this if you want.
Dark Horse here asked, do they take them off and put them back on? Yes, and that is very common for Japanese car modifications.
What do you think? How much would this one cost to ship?
It's big.
It's too big. Yeah, I mean, it depends shipping where. Like USA and Canada.
In general, probably somewhere around 450,000 yen.
That top piece is it's huge. So when you do the exterior volume for a vehicle, you take the maximum points for everything. So the very tallest point on the vehicle, the very furthest points of the vehicle, and the widest points. So that top piece looks like it's 80 centimeters or something means your box goes from this big for the truck all the way up to the top point.
And you're multiplying all of that by the length and the width as well. Right. So it gets crazy.
Get a Decotora that does not have extended height on it.
Honestly, the extended height is a popular thing on these Deco trucks, though.
Yeah.
It's probably like $1 million yen to ship, I would say. And
the mirrors coming forward or the bumper coming forward, same business, right? Yeah. You're multiplying everything by that extra, 30 centimeters to meter that you're adding.
Okay.
And don't ask us if we can remove the top part and cut it down to size that is.
Because usually those are custom welded on.
Yeah.
Next one.
While you guys go into the next one, somebody spilled my water and I want to go get a refill. So you talk while I kind of leave the
deal with that guy. All right, next one. Toyota Vitz TRD Turbo. Yeah. I think this was on Grant's short list for a while, but I'm not sure about that. Too hard to find, Grant says. But here we go. I love that.
This is the second generation. They had the turbo of this and the first generation.
Oh, okay. Ours was. I think the second generation looks cooler than because we had the first. Right?
I like the derpiness of the first generation much more than this. Like, I agree that this is a better looking car, but I like how dumb the first generation looks.
Yeah, I think this looks pretty hot. This is a hot hatch.
Uses the same engine as the regular version, 1.5 liter, and you go from 108 horsepower up to 150 horsepower here. We had one, and we raced it.
Yeah.
In races, endurance races.
And it performs surprisingly well.
Soon.
It's coming up soon, right?
Yeah, it's
on the Drives Japan YouTube channel.
Is it the first car after the big crash?
Yes. No, even before that.
Really?
It was a backup car.
Yeah, someone decided to swap an engine because things happened. And during that time...
You'll have to check out Drives Japan for all of this.
Find out more on Drives Japan YouTube channel.
And I think it is hilarious to drive the piss out of this car. I drove it up to our turbo one. I drove up to Nikko to go on a track up there. So fun as a road car. You just floor it everywhere and you go zooming around in a tiny little car.
Yeah.
It's hilarious. And If the turbo blows,
I was going to
you
say
have to
that.
scrap the car.
Yeah, there's no way to. The turbo's what? Inside the intake manifold or something?
Right. The turbo and the manifold are a one piece.
Yeah.
And so you can't remove the turbo of it. You can't rebuild it. We tried, unfortunately. Our turbo may have blown. But nonetheless, if you do...
Surprisingly, we sold it for a profit after blowing the turbo.
and wrote on the auction sheet, the turbo was blown.
Yeah. And they were
somebody
like,
was like, nah, I'll pay more than you guys paid for it.
Yeah.
Gregor was commenting, engine swap that into the BB. Do you want to comment on that, Derek?
You can get a supercharger kit from TRD for the BB. So that would be the way to go. Or you can get aftermarket turbo kits. So an aftermarket turbo on the 1NZ would be good.
But there was a time in PCA lore and history where Derek wanted nothing more than to put the turbo engine from the VIT into the BB and turn the BB into a race car.
No doubt. I would more than anything, I would love to have an extremely fast BB race car. But I think the way to do that is
chopping
a V6 instead of 4-cylinder or a K20. I think in order to make the BB actually fast, you need a lot more power because it's not going to handle that well just because of what it is.
Yeah.
Oh, but yes, if we had the means, there would be a BB race car now, and it would be hella fast. Maybe 2 K20s in it.
We're sorry now. We're not rich.
On Drives Japan to see
I'm sorry, we are not rich.
5 years.
I think this is sweet. Is this the original?
And I think they're good value. We bought ours for, I think, somewhere around 250,000 yen or something like that.
I think it was less, but I
think it was less. Maybe
it was before
220.
prices went up, so
yeah,
well before COVID.
Good value on it. Cool little runaround car, and extremely fun to drive. And you just part of the fun is thinking about what other people are thinking about you, blasting around as fast as you're going in such a little car, with the turbo sounds too.
This one, wow, it's a grade 4B. It's low mileage. I would assume this is the original color.
It is. Yep.
This is a really nice
front
car.
Bumper needs to be repaired, and we see an A2 U2 on the back fender that might need repair. If you really want a nice car, you could probably live with it.
Maybe had some bonk,
very
or
low
a scrape
mileage
or something, but it looks
and
fantastic.
Canada legal as of next month. So if you are in Canada right now, and this is the perfect time to sell to them because it's Canada Day and they're all drunk, we can make them make bad decisions.
Make a bad decision right
this
now.
is a good decision.
Make a good decision right
now. We can make them make good decisions too.
Yeah. Add to cart, buy now. That's how my Amazon shopping happens.
I think we should throw in a little something extra. Anytime someone buys a car that we mention on the show, we should probably give them extra treats.
Okay. Well, we could. If somebody buys this one, we'll give you extra stuff. We don't know what extra, but...
Fingernail clippings from Mike.
Yeah.
Authentic JDM fingernail clippings.
A lock of hair.
A Derek body pillow.
Yeah.
I have my lock of hair.
Derek still will offer you his lock of hair.
Remember, I had long hair, right?
Yeah.
I got my daughter to braid my hair and then snip it off, so I've got a lock of hair. I don't know why I did it, but I thought it was
for
funny.
sale.
I think this was the topic of the first ever JDM show.
Probably.
I think
and then I chickened out because the first show going, hey guys, this is the first show. Buy my hair. Well, I didn't, or win my hair. I thought it's one of those things where I thought it would be funny, but then in actuality, you were like, well, that's not funny. I have restraint and I'm not going to say it.
I would love to see someone buy this. We keep getting asked for these cheap and cheerful, like, what are the underappreciated or under
that's probably
under the radar?
Yeah.
There you go. We just found one.
Buy it and you get extra stuff.
Yeah.
Next one.
Next one, Mike, what we looking at? This is super rare.
Well, okay.
Somebody said in the comments, congratulations to you. Hey. Someone at the very intro was like, which one is it? And someone said it was a 432. Don't say that anything yet. Someone said maybe it's a Fairlady 432. And then someone else was like, no, I think it's a 380. And it is a 380, a car I didn't even know existed until Grant found it yesterday while looking through cars to talk about it on the show. Now you can talk about the license plate, Mike.
This person has class. Definitely class. It is just immediately obvious. Wait, can I see the rear? Because it's got the Nismo rear bumper, doesn't it?
Yes.
Is it the same one? It doesn't look as bad in black. I famously hate the 350Z Nismo rear bumper. I don't know why it's so square.
Talk about the license plate.
The license plate's fantastic. I mean, I would own this car just purely based on the license plate. Nice.
The 380 RS is more than just the Nismo version of the car.
Is this the top?
Released as a road version for Japanese market, the Type 380 RS competition race car. The Type 380 RS includes a detuned version of the I think there's a typo here. 380? Is it 380 or 360?
3.8 liter.
380.
Yeah, they've got 3.8
liter.
badge.
3.8 liter. So it's a detuned version of the race engine, rated at 350 horsepower.
That's insane.
350 horsepower from a naturally aspirated VQ 35. Of course, it's been overboard to 3.8, but that's a decent amount more power, and it is a race engine. The only way to get this was in the limited version of the car, so very cool and very rare.
Oh, can you click?
And 7,200 RPM is where its max power is at. That's huge for the VQs. So yeah, you get race engine-like technology in it.
I never knew this existed either.
Brembo front disc brakes are fitted front and rear dampers from Yamaha. I didn't know Yamaha made dampers.
I didn't either, but I trust them.
And forged Ray alloy wheels. Grant, tell me if the wheels on here are still the Ford. No, they're BBSs.
I don't believe they're stock ones. This has also been changed.
Aragosta is a good suspension, but having Yamaha suspension is pretty dope.
Yeah,
honestly.
I want the Yamaha suspension.
I don't know if Yamaha makes suspension in-house. They'd probably get Bilstein or something to make it for them.
Max, can you click, has this car been at auction before? Because a car like this is highly likely to have gone unsold for a while.
There you go.
So the seller wants 7.7 million.
That's a lot for a fair lady.
Yeah.
That's why it's been at auction for so long.
Yeah.
300.
One of 300.
Wow,
but the thing is, nobody's talking about this, right? If it were a special version of the R34, somebody would overpay for it. But it's a fair lady of a generation that doesn't have I don't know. People just don't really like this generation too much compared to the Nissan turbo engines. Like the generation before this was turbocharged and people loved that. And then when they moved to NA and a bigger engine, which people just didn't seem to catch on to it. I think it will be a more revered car in the future. But as of now, a lot of people are looking past this version of the Fairlady. It's seen as what 20 years ago the S13 chassis were. A cheap car that idiots keep in bad condition and drift at night into curbs because they don't know how to drive.
Can I make a small side note? You see that RX-7 in the background? Why is it
broken?
Exactly. Because it's not parked in the vehicle lane. It looks like it was going through photo inspection and then broke down.
Honestly, the middle of the inspection.
RX-7 style.
Yeah.
There's a comment in the chat. Enyo Tice said, this car was on hot version / option. It was still 2 seconds or so slower than the Evo and NSX around Tsukuba.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Evo and NSXs are demons, and this is a hot car.
Grand Touring type 2-door car.
Exactly. Yeah. Grand Touring is the best way to say it. It's meant for something else. It's not really the sports. It's never been. The first Fairlady wasn't a sports car. It was a GT.
Yeah. Next one.
But that's too much money. You get an R8 for that much money. Yeah. A nice R8.
What do you think is a good price for that, though?
Oh, even 5 seems a bit too high.
Yeah, I think 5.5 is decent for this. 7.5 is way too high, in my opinion, even with the 69 license plate.
Which does add value and class.
He's got a 69 license plate twice in a row.
Oh, yeah. I will never not have a 69 license plate.
Okay. I put this one in because people don't realize it exists. The March to begin with. The March to begin with is a car a lot of people don't realize is a car because it's a Japan. I think Europe might have got this.
Europe
didn't
got this too, yeah.
We didn't in North America, and they are awkward looking, but
every
endearing.
time someone drives
but the C,
this, I need to close my eyes. The least manly car ever made.
Perfect.
Okay.
We have one.
Wait, the March in general or this specific one? Or the Micra?
Convertible March/Micra.
Yeah.
Right. The C plus C is the convertible version, and if you thought the Murano convertible was the worst, or the
Blink again.
The Land Rover Evoque convertible, nope. This is the worst one. And you know what's really funny? Styling wise, it's pretty much the exact same as the S15 convertible, which again is an incredibly ugly car. It's like they're like, S15 convertible, ugly. Let's move that to a way uglier car to begin with.
And make it even worse.
That looks horrid from the back end. And it looks like you retain the rear seats, which are no longer usable. Bespoke rear seats.
That's a dildo storage compartment. Sorry, I wasn't going to say it, but then I had to.
Why would you keep them in this car? There's no room.
I mean,
we're getting into the details everybody wants to know about.
I mean, it's a drop top. You can get more room.
And I'm not sure how many of these they sold, but it couldn't have been too many of them. And I'm always wonder with these retractable hardtops, that seems pretty damn hard to make, which means R&D money goes into it, and you probably don't make that money back. This is one of the reasons, like, Nissan seems like a company that's run by idiots because they keep making and the Murano convertible. Who asked for a Murano convertible? I think they sold 17 of them.
Guys, great idea. Nah, people
I have
disagree.
a feeling like in Nissan, if you're high enough up in the company, you get to make decisions and nobody is allowed to say anything against them. Because I think most people would be like,
well, maybe they did. Maybe they did, and he had the signing power, and he was like, nope, this is happening. My wife said she wants one. I heard that's happening.
No, that's the real story of the Murano one. It was the wife of somebody who wanted it or something like that. I don't recall exactly, but it had something to do with that, and it got made.
Honey, you work at Nissan, right? I like the Murano, but the roof doesn't go away. I want the roof to go away.
Nissan.
Yes, dear. You promised me.
It's a shame because Nissan for car people... What are you looking at, Max? Stop looking at the clock. Nissan for car people has always been the enthusiast brand, right? They keep winning races. Sports cars are a thing for them. So we as car enthusiasts love Nissan, but they make so many damn bad decisions.
Yeah. Yep. This is one of them.
What's
Sorry.
next?
But somebody should buy it from auction, and we'll send you extra candy.
Going to an absolutely endearing little car. What you're looking at is a Daihatsu Boon.
Okay. Just before, same as the Passo or slightly different?
So the Daihatsu is Toyota, right?
Right.
And Toyota makes the Passo.
Right.
This is based off of the Passo, but the Passo is just a cheap little economy car, one class above K cars. It's a
1.3 liter or something?
1.3 liter and 1 liter were the two engines you can get. Only came in automatic, I believe.
But they had the TRD
four-wheel drive,
Passo.
And they had a TRD version that didn't get any extra power. The Boon, on the other hand, Daihatsu, a company that sells mostly K cars, they're like, let's make a four-wheel drive turbocharged version with its own unique 900cc engine, I think, in this one. 900cc turbo four-wheel drive manual transmission. And I tried so hard to find one of these for our race car when we were looking for race cars, but they just ended up to be too expensive because they're still commonly used as rally cars. And people don't know about this car. What a cool little piece.
Yeah.
It looks incredibly cool with that little hood scoop and the...
Can we just...
Get a loud exhaust on it?
Can we just take
like a bee?
10 seconds of silence to appreciate this body line that goes into the fender from the... This is sweet.
And the rear has a matching body line that looks really cool too. I've always thought that the Passo had good body lines.
So I tried to convince Grant to get a TRD Passo when he was looking at something different for the Fit. And then he's like, dude, it has no power. Like, it has less power than the Fit. And
the Passos, they're not good cars.
I thought the TRD Passo had more power, but I should have gone with this. I should have convinced him on a Boon. Although if they're expensive,
when I was looking like 2 years ago, they were 500,000 yen.
Ooh.
Which for this type of car is a lot.
Yeah.
Like if you compare it to the Mitsubishi Colt with the turbo, it has more power. It is a little bit, a decent amount bigger, but you get those for 200,000 yen.
Yeah.
And they're faster. So it is a weird sell for this car. Ooh, it's got a aftermarket lateral rod.
How much power do they make again?
I think they're somewhere around 110 horsepower or something like that. I don't recall exactly.
So if someone buys this,
they get something special. Nail clippings.
Special?
No nail clippings.
How are your nails looking today? Oh, they could actually get a decent amount.
What do you mean decent amount? Yeah, I guess so. See my toenails. You get toenail clippings. I think these are sweet.
Good choice on the wheels on that.
Yeah, that was sweet.
But who knows? It seems like the type of car that doesn't come around that often and might be overlooked every once in a while. So if a car doesn't, like if it has low supply and low demand, sometimes prices fluctuate a decent amount.
Yeah.
I just wanted to point out that there is a literal battle in the chat to get the #1 commenter.
Looks like Zaid currently has it, but Rion is...
Zaid went from 3rd to 1st in one comment. He must have got a lot of experience for that.
Oh, I have a list of the XPs, so...
Wait, I want to talk about that later, though. It's actually very interesting to me.
We need to move on to the final segment for today, because we're coming up on the end of the show, and we still have stuff to talk about.
Yeah.
I told one person that I know is watching right now that we'd talk about his car, so we'll skip a couple of the things that we were going to talk about, but I do want to get to that one. So the picture of the Delica.
So it's this week at PCA.
Did you just give yourself the reverb? All right, you said it that time?
Yeah.
We're done. Okay.
Oh, God, Derek.
So our
Derek's
customer,
taking control.
I don't know how to pronounce the name. Ryan?
Ryan. I think it is Ryan.
Rion. He's in BC, and he sent a picture.
I don't
little
think
nugget of truth there.
No, I don't think they could see it. It was just for us.
Okay, so he sent something in to us to talk about. If you want to send something in, we've got an email address specifically for that, show@pacificcoastjdm.com. So send in anything that you want to that. We'll maybe talk about it on the show. And he said, hey guys, best service. Thank you so much. I'm grateful for this straightforward and transparent approach. You're great to work with. And he also recommended our guy James Potts because he's in BC. He can receive the vehicle and pass compliance and whatnot. The reason I wanted to talk about showing this car specifically is because he shouts out, or the lack of shouts out, Tim Hortons.
Yeah, he specifically said that Tim Hortons is one of the best places you can go in Canada, and it is a popular tourist attraction and is well worth the visit. Now that is verbatim.
So that's what a lot of people think, because Tim Hortons likes to advertise as the true north, strong and free, patriotic place to get your coffee and donuts. And I loathe that. And many Canadians hate Tim Hortons because they push this, if you're a real Canadian, you'll buy Tim Hortons. And the rest of the world believes that's true, but they are very much the type of company that hates people and loves money. And they have been going downhill. Maybe in the 80s and 90s it was that kind of place, but they stepped into this patriotic kind of advertising. I hate it. So he says, I had to throw in a Tim Hortons picture. It's the most stereotypical Canadian thing I can do. ... Disgusting place. ... I'm ashamed. Lol.
I will say this is not the first scathing email we've received from Ryan about Tim Hortons. And
that
I love
sums it up so well and so concisely.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. It gave me a good laugh.
Yeah.
So now on to the last section. Oh, and the poll. Max, tell us about the poll.
Wait, we've got more stuff, don't we?
I thought we were going to skip that because it's not as important as
we got pictures from Denzel.
Okay, show Denzel's pictures.
Yeah.
For Canada Day. He sent some pictures.
What a Canadian picture.
I think this makes me so happy and jealous.
Yeah.
You know, it's such a beautiful place, but when you grow up in it, you don't notice the beauty because you're just used to it. Yeah. And you have to move away to really appreciate it. It is amazing.
Yeah, that picture is fantastic.
It's really cool.
And those are cars imported from PacificCoastJDM.com, your source for the best vehicles from Japan. Rated #1 car exporter by Pacific Coast Auto.
We rated ourselves the best?
Yeah.
I mean, everyone else does.
I mean, I just did.
Why not? Yeah.
Nice.
DW, I'm sorry I didn't answer to your email. The YouTube link doesn't work. We checked it right before the show, and it doesn't come up with anything.
Next week, DW's video.
He sent a video and it doesn't work, and I just checked it before the show.
I hope there's sick mudding going on or something. Yeah. I know it's summer there, so probably no mudding. I don't know.
There were some half-naked pictures of Jacob in a vest. We're going to show you those probably next week.
No, somebody specifically asked in the chat.
He can wait till next week.
Yeah,
we have to get to Q&A, and we're already at 12:30.
Okay. Sorry.
The next segment.
I'm so sorry.
No. Let me talk about the poll.
Yes.
So,
this show is scripted, and we never go off script.
Starting from today, after the show, sometime in the afternoon, maybe night for you guys, there will be a poll posted on the community tab of the Pacific Coast Auto YouTube channel, where you can vote on the topic for next week's show. So we have 3 topics prepared, and you can vote what you want to hear from us.
You choose the next topic.
Basically. And then the topic that gets picked gets removed from the poll. A new topic comes in, but the other ones who don't get picked stay. and then either they stay forever, or you guys compare it to the alternatives.
I think this is going to be all sorts of fun, but I do wonder if one of them gets rated like 2 or 3% compared to the other ones. Do you think we then take that one out?
Yeah, I think we.
Yeah.
We don't
need
do
to
that.
find some
Or
filters.
if we find a topic we really want to talk about, do we then pick intentionally bad topics to compete against it?
Yes.
Or do we have funny topics each time that it's like a topic of Mike picking his nose and see how many people are interested in that?
Yes.
Okay, on to the...
But wait, on that poll, have your say. Please vote. It helps us to know what people really want to see, so we can help to make a show that you will enjoy as well, and answer any questions that you've thought of that we haven't. So keep an eye out for the poll and please vote.
Yes.
Q&A. So we have questions from people in the comments section after the post is live. So yes, live questions will be answered, but also comments in the video after the fact will be answered.
And from the email addresses where you can send pictures to. It is show@pacificcoastjdm.com.
There you have it.
Okay, so first question here. Why don't you read that for us?
It's from Zaid from the last show. If a vehicle comes with loose items that the buyer doesn't want, do you sell them to UpGarage or do you just trash them?
Honestly, it depends on what it is. If we get all the time, parts come in the car and they can't be shipped with the car because you can't ship inner cargo in the car when they ship. Regulations. Most of the time, the vast majority of the time, these parts get thrown out. The amount of labor it costs to process the parts and sell them isn't worth the money that comes in. So while we are throwing away parts that do have value, it's not value enough for our company to invest the labor. That's just how it is.
I will say, for most of you will have known this because a lot of you here are already purchasing cars, you know how it works. But if your car does come with parts, we will let you know about the parts. And if you want us to, we can ship those parts to you.
So if they are high enough value, those customers are picking them anyway.
Right. Yeah. The customers say, oh, it comes with some super rare something or other that I really want to have. I'll pay for it to be shipped to you. We charge a fee for packaging it up and the cost of the freight to you, but that's all good. You can at least have the parts. Some people say, I kind of want the parts, but it's not really worth spending the money. So they're in a pile in our office.
Yeah. Don't let that be you. If you're like, hey, I want the parts, and then we say, okay, but it's going to be about this much for shipping, and you go, yeah, that's cool. Bring them in, and then we're like, okay, we're going to send the parts out. Here's the price, and you're like, actually, those parts become trash in our office, which we have to then pay to get rid of.
Right. Yeah. So.
And we don't like doing it, so we don't do it. Yeah. So they just pile up.
Yeah. So to answer the question, some parts get sold, but it's like a tiny fraction. Most of the parts are not really worth the time and the hassle and doing them, and we definitely don't take stuff to UpGarage.
Please don't make my...
Yeah, Grant's where Grant sits is currently like there's a pile of parts that are either not been claimed or were claimed and are no longer wanted, and that's kind of like encroaching on Grant's desk space.
In the event of a major earthquake, it's like a landslide coming down.
Yeah. Grant's going to be ground zero.
I'm the guy responsible for that too. So
yeah,
I'll probably have to pay Grant compensation. Sorry we broke your arm with the falling R34 front bumpers. But at least it was a cool car that the bumper came from.
Yeah. The last part of that answer is that a lot of the time we will say, do you want these? And if you say, nah, they're not really worth my time or effort, we just leave them in the car and they get disposed of at the port. Sometimes
the port charges for that?
Yeah, sometimes the port charges. Sometimes they get left in the car, but it's like 0.1% chance. It is not allowed for stuff to get left in the car, so they usually just get tossed out in a big dumpster at the port.
Zaid wants to see Grant.
Everyone wants to see Grant. We're going to have to make you guys earn the right to see Grant.
On a technical level, it's a little hard because we can't accept a third person at this table.
Yeah.
Because there's just not enough room.
Not enough space.
And then if we put a camera at Grant's desk, I don't know. It's a little challenging.
I think we need a little Grant square that's like a little camera pointing at Grant, even if it was just a webcam, and then Grant has the little Japanese like reaction.
We have thought about that, yeah.
Yeah, he could just turn it on when he wants to.
He's shaking his head. He needs
like a button on his desk where you press the button and the.
Because I've seen those Japanese varieties.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we got a question from BanPayNet.
Yes, it was regarding the dress code discussion from last week's show.
Oh.
Are there any rules in place for working at the port?
Pretty much no. It gets so hot in Japan that if you want to wear shorts or you want to wear something lighter, then go ahead. It's a safety issue if that's the case. Though if you are going to be working at the port and in the office on the same day, then you have to wear the office attire here and then change into it. So that's what Jacob does. So those pictures of Jacob wearing just the vest, he wouldn't be allowed to wear that in the office.
But sometimes he does go bare-chested in the office on very special occasions.
On those days that we buy beers and hang out after work.
Yeah.
Okay, and then there was a follow-up on last week's 3-box JDM 80s car that is reliable and cheap and lots of things.
Oh, this is a big one.
Yeah, and he realized the budget is the main constraint, 500 to 750,000 yen, and we can compromise on reliability, and you guys can share your opinion on a AE 91 or 101, which was the ones that we recommended last time.
Yeah.
Or the Tornado or the Carina, sorry.
Carina GT is the 4-wheel drive turbo one, so that's in a different category from the others. Pardon me, I thought Caldina. You said Caldina, but then changed it to Carina.
It's Carina.
Yeah, Carina GT. Wow. It's basically an AE 111, but in a 4-door sedan.
I was going to say, all of these choices are fantastic.
Yeah. I'm a Honda boy and a Toyota boy. Both of those. All of them are good. Yeah. I will say the AE 92, getting old. Parts are getting hard to find.
Cars are hard to find.
Yeah, they're not that common. And the Nissan Skyline R31, he also asked about, could it be too expensive? Yeah, it's reached that point where a good one is now really expensive, and a bad one requires so much work to make it good that this is now a different class of car.
Okay, though. Those Passages with my
Don't increase the price of the Passage, please.
But still, it's not going to be in the range of 500,000 to 750 unless it's rough.
There's a Passage GT that comes with these beautiful plush velour seats, and they're in like either a deep purple or like actually a deep red magenta as well. And I want the purple. I want the Passage GT with the purple seats, and I don't care if it's automatic or anything because I want to.
They come with seat buttons. Do you remember those? Like couches sometimes have the buttons, right?
Yeah.
You don't see those in cars.
Bring that up.
That's very cool.
Can we do like the Joe Rogan thing? Let's bring that up.
What's Joe Rogan's friend that brings stuff up? Yeah, Jamie.
But we have a Maxabillion. I don't know. It'd probably be difficult, so we can go into some other questions.
Please. I'm going through the questions.
While we're answering the next question, then you can do that, Jamie.
Maxabillion.
I'm waiting for him to react, and he's not reacting.
You don't like it.
Dark Corsair was asking, where can you see the new Japanese aircraft carrier? Is it close to Yokohama? He said he thinks it's in Yokosuka. I have no idea.
Grant probably knows about this.
Probably Yokosuka, Grant says.
Yokosuka's a little bit weird too because it's in a bay that is all on the base, so you can't see the ships very well from outside. Some of them you can, but like it's.
Is it a Japanese naval base and a U.S. naval base? Are they combined?
Not combined, but they are.
Okay, this is why we need a microphone for Grant.
They share that area. Okay, that's cool. Fun little tidbit about weather and dress codes here. Yesterday was a day that Grant and I had to go to the lot, and it was, 36-degree weather. I sweat so much in my work attire that there was a giant puddle of sweat on my chest. Armpits were naturally soaked, and my legs were wet. I felt like I had showered, and then instead of drying myself off, I pulled my pants on.
So I like what Grant said when he came in. Like an hour afterwards, he looked like he was less heat stroked at that point. And then I can't remember what somebody said, but Grant's response was, "Well, I'm dry now, but I'm covered in salt."
Yeah. So on the poll that
let's go to the next question.
There'll be another one that's petitions Mike to be allowed to wear shorts in the office.
You can bring shorts outside if you want.
How about in the office?
Nope.
How about if I buy work pants and then I cut the legs off?
Yes.
Got him.
Gregor is asking, speaking of car heights for shipping, how much do roof racks add to the cost of shipping? Are they worth shipping with the car or no?
It depends on the roof rack and how cool you think the roof rack is.
Yeah.
But you can do the math.
We'll help you do the math.
Just estimate how many centimeters it is above, and then add that to the calculation for the size, and then you can get a percent difference.
Yeah.
So it's pretty easy math. It's cubic volume is length times width times height, and you just plug in the numbers, and then you compare. This is how much it is with. This is how much it is without. Yeah. Super easy.
Just standard like roof rails would probably be 20-30 centimeters if it's a box with like a cage around, like a small cage on the outside.
Probably looking, last time I did it was $120 difference.
Yeah. And there's a cost if you don't want the roof rack and you want to keep the shipping down. There's a cost to remove the roof rack and dispose of the roof rack. So honestly speaking, most of the time, if you have the roof racks and you're okay with roof racks, just keep them on the car. Cost you a little bit extra in shipping, but then you have roof racks. And you don't have to pay to get them removed and also disposed of.
True.
Rails on the BB, not removable. And you definitely
don't want to remove
keep them.
I've seen a lot of them in Japan take the rails off, and I think it looks terrible.
Yeah, it doesn't look as good. Yeah.
More questions from you guys. You can put those in the chat if you have some now.
Max is requesting questions.
I love question time.
Yeah, it's fun.
So, more questions.
It's the time that you get to talk instead of me.
Yeah.
Zayd is asking where we found Jacob.
Jacob found us.
Jacob arrived on one of those Viking-looking vessels in the Bay of Japan, Yokohama, Tokyo Bay. He arrived in Tokyo Bay, and there were war drums playing, and he was bare-chested. Yeah. And he said, I want to work at PCA. And we were like, can't deny a Viking.
You know what Jacob said? He started doing push-ups, right? And he's like, yeah, I just started. I can do like 30 in one set. Only Vikings get to do 30 push-ups when you just start.
It's a genetic advantage for him.
And he looks like he works out when he, up to recently, hasn't been.
Yeah.
Fuck those guys.
We're live. You're not supposed to say that.
Okay, it's now 3 weeks in a row where the F-bomb was dropped.
I can't believe
I gotta say, I work out 5 days a week, and I get this.
Spaghetti arms.
Meanwhile, Jacob's like, I can do...
I've just started this week doing push-ups, and I can do your max.
I will say I can do more than 30 push-ups. But also, his 30 push-ups is a lot more weight. I think he's somewhere around 85 kilos or something like that, and I'm 62.
Maybe he's not doing proper push-ups. Maybe he's just lying to you. Vikings are known to be cheaters.
Jacob, the guy that you guys work with, is very, very honest, so he would never lie.
That's true.
To anyone.
Yeah,
call him friendly and honest Jake, right?
Who would win in the PCA office in a physical fight?
If you donate enough, we'll show you.
Asking completely, it would be between Jacob and Mike, no question, because they're by far the biggest.
Well, yeah,
Mike's got the height and the reach, I think. Jacob just seems like you can't beat him up, though.
He seems unbeat-upable.
He's got that thicker neck, right? Where you punch someone in the head and they're not knocked out. They're not going to be like...
Yeah, so...
And between me and Grant, what do you think? Grant and I are fairly similar. We're both lightweights.
I don't think Grant could bring himself to hit you. So, but I think you could bring yourself to hit Grant.
Now we're getting to the serious questions. Thank you for requesting people ask more questions, because this is the gold that we're getting.
We did say you ask anything and we'll answer it, right?
Yeah.
So...
But there's no more questions at the moment, and we are 15 minutes over.
We're all out of questions.
Perfect time to get done. So if you got this far in the future version of the video, maybe you watched it not live, make sure you give us questions, because we do need to grab those. With the amount of viewers that we have, we can kind of make the question time work, but we want more questions to pick from.
Yeah.
We want to be creative with that. Drop your creative questions in the comment section, and then make sure that you watch again. Yeah. Next week. For now, we got to get back to actually selling cars.
But one thing, top fans at the moment.
Oh, can we talk about that for a little bit?
I want to find out about that. This experience point system is really interesting to me.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see if that continues for the next week. But at the moment, Ryan is number 1 with 150 XP. Zaid is number 2 with 150 XP. So you're just, both of you are just one comment away from staying either one or getting into number 1.
Zaid seems to comment a lot more than Ryan, though.
Yeah, but the quality of the comments matters.
Okay, but how does AI know this?
I don't know. Griff writes is number 3 with 100 points.
Can you see how much experience that you have? I see that Zaid said 150 experience seems to be the peak. So you can see your own experience?
Oh.
And then why is this just this week? Is this a new feature that YouTube did? Because we've got people who've been watching for ages. We don't have a Colin. Is Colin still on his road trip?
Colin is on the other side of Canada where it's very late when we do the show. So he has to stay up past midnight to watch.
Okay. Well, Colin, if you're watching After Hours, I'm waiting to hear about your road trip.
Okay. So next week we'll find out who's the next top fan of the cool JDM show.
Yeah, Denzel says experience stacks week to week. Is it only chat? Do comments count?
I don't know.
We got to figure this out.
We'll look into it because the gamifying thing is fun for me.
Top 20 experience. Also,
and can we award experience? I would love to.
Do you also get more experience if you're a member? You know, YouTube has the member system where you pay a monthly fee and then you get to feel special, right? So do you get extra experience because you're a member?
Right.
It seems like it would make sense.
Maybe.
Oh, you have to donate to get past the cap? They've pay-gated it without even asking us?
That's also a YouTube decision. So if we ever accept, currently I don't think that we accept members, right? We haven't set anything like that up.
We don't have the members, but we do accept donations. So you
just letting you know.
Could potentially donate stuff to us.
I don't think so many people do that anymore. Yeah, I think it's pretty rare.
I can't believe they did that without being like, hey, we're going to put this feature on your live stream. They're just like, no, we've made your live stream pay to win now if you want. Not if
YouTube
you want.
Is
you just
owned by Nintendo now.
Yeah. Jeez.
Okay, end of the show. Capitalism, baby.
We've been called capitalist morons before, just saying.
Except we didn't do anything that was capitalist.
No.
What did we do to be called that?
It was a complete misunderstanding. He thought the auctions policies were our policies, and when we were trying to explain the auction policies, he was like, capitalist morons.
Yeah, we just said that bid increments have to be in increments of 1,000 yen, right? And he thought it was $1,000, and thought we were trying to get him to bid higher.
Yeah, $1,000 more. Yeah, Anyway,
good.
That'll be the end of the show. Tune in again next week. You can't tune anymore. Click on the buttons to come watch us again next week, and we will be back.
Dial.
There's no dials.
There are dials. Don't touch them. If you find dials, don't touch them.
And we will see you again next week. Thank you for watching.
We're sorry that there are no bare-chested photos of Jacob. They were planned for the show, but a number of them. Wait until next time.
We might even get some new ones if we ask Jacob. He's out there today with me. Maybe I'll just sneak a few.
Oh, candid Jacob shots. Anyway, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for spending your time with us.
Bye.
Enjoy the rest of your day.
Goodbye.